Hey guys, welcome to Sysvanta. We're going to show you how to mod a printer. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here in the Sysvanta workplace, aka my room, and I just wanted to briefly take a moment to chat about the WANHAO i3 or the MakerSelect version 2. Recently, I've had to replace the stepper motor, and that didn't even appear to solve the problem, as you can see with all the flux there. But I'd just like to give a quick side note to the person who commented and asked how exactly this upgrade was done, when this printer was working, and what are the procedures and instructions. So really quickly, I'm just going to go through what I've done and how exactly I've hooked these things up. And hopefully you'll get out of this a good way to upgrade your WANHAO i3 or your MakerSelect version 2 or any of the other popular remakes of this printer, the i3. So there it is right there. As you can see, we got the WANHAO i3. I've got it fully disassembled here as I was testing the extruder motor. But I'd just like to make a note about how exactly you're going to be able to add this piece right here, which is a BLTouch clone. It's called 3DTouch on here. Can be picked up for around $12. But let's just take a closer look at what exactly I had to do to hook up this piece. So the first step here is that what you'll need to do is you'll need to find a power supply on the board for this little component right here. So what I ended up doing is I actually ended up splicing the power cable from the LCD panel, as you can see right here with that heat shrink. I spliced it into two wires, one going into the LCD panel and the other one going straight towards the BLTouch. Now, what you might be concerned about, is there enough amperage to actually handle the BLTouch and the LCD screen? And to answer that question, I'd like to first address this by saying that this is a 250 watt power supply, guys. The 5-volt rail on here should be able to power this BLTouch module without a problem. And yeah, it might, the rail might be occupied by the LCD panel, but what you'll find is that the 5-volt amperage is more than enough to handle this 3DTouch module, at least from G-Tech. I'm not sure about the other 3DTouch modules, but the one from G-Tech that was around $12, this one right here, seemed to work perfectly. So back to the procedure, what you'll want to do is you'll want to take the 10-pin header and carefully take each pin and wire each pin to the correct corresponding pin header on your LCD panel for the board. And what that's going to do is you're going to have all of the LCD panel hooked up, but it's going to allow you to connect that 5-volt rail and splice it into two to use for that. And what you'll find here is that with the G-Tech, it's going to come with a 3-pin wire layout. This one right here is signal. This one is 5 volts, and this one is ground. And as I have this hooked up, I actually ended up removing, as you can see here, I've got the board out of here. But if we take a close look right here, what you'll actually begin to see is that for the Z-stop, I actually ended up taking off the header so that I could connect the 3DTouch module to the board. And what that did essentially is you've got a little end stop, a limit switch right about here. And what that does is when this thing comes down, it's going to touch this Z-axis end stop just like any other printer. And that's going to register when it's hit the bed. But what this does instead is it'll actually come down slowly. I might be able to show you with my other printer. Now, this 3DTouch module is not the same as the 3DTouch module that's currently installed in here. But I just want to show you real quick what leveling is, just in case you're not aware. Basically, when I click this button, the extruder is going to go and it's going to home itself, and then it's going to take this little thing here and it's going to shoot out a little beam, as you can see right here, a little thing as it goes all the way to the floor, and it's going to touch that, and that's going to give it the exact position of the bed. And it's going to do that here, 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 and here. It's going to scan the whole bed and get the levelness of each part of the bed so that way it prints uniformly on the surface. So now that I've explained what a G-Tech leveler is going to do, back to the procedure. So, oh, it looks like I actually got that wrong, huh? So it looks like this right here is another pair of signal pins, and this will go straight to the Z-stop. So let me just briefly review because I've talked a whole lot. This right here is a 5 volt. This right here is a ground. This right here is a signal. This right here are 2 signals for the Z-axis end stop. And just to briefly review what I've done with this 10-pin header here, I've taken the 10-pin header and I've just connected each wire that would have been connected to the board if we were just using the 10-pin header. And I've taken that and I've just wired each one individually to its correct pin. And I've spliced the 5 volt so that way I can use it for the G-Tech. Now that we've completed the actual hardware setup, I know this looks like a lot. It's just a whole lot of wires. It's actually very simple. What we're going to go to now is actually the firmware. So this is the second most difficult part. I actually had some issues with that, and I'm going to give you a few tips coming up here in a minute. But I'm going to pull up the 3DTouch here. I'm going to pull up the guide here that I was following. All right. You know what? I'm just going to skip that. So let's dive straight into it. So first off, what we're going to take a look at here is there's actually going to be some, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. All right, here we go. So I'm going to link this guide in the description. And this guy does a little bit of a different procedure than I did. But he's got some similar stuff here. But what most importantly I'm going to bring up here is that the firmware. So basically, guys, when you want to add 3DTouch to your printer, there's a piece of software, obviously, that drives the printer. Now, hooking up the wires for the 3D printer would seem like it's enough. But actually, the printer cannot automatically detect that there is a 3DTouch leveler. It's going to need some instructions on how to use that. And so essentially what a firmware is the piece of software that gives the instructions for your printer. So to make this quick, I'm not going to go into the details of what exactly you need to do. But all you're going to really need to do is download a sample configuration here. In particular, this is the one that I ended up using. It was this one right here. This one right here, it is the Duplicator i3 BLTouch. And so this one will allow you to go ahead and add the 3DTouch without having to reconfigure all the firmware. You just download this file right here and you load it onto your printer. And to give you some specific procedures about loading on the printer's firmware, it's pretty simple. You're gonna need to look a lot of this stuff up. But what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to burn a new bootloader, which is pretty easy. You could just look up how to burn a bootloader to the MakerSelect, and it will come right up. Or the WANHAO i3. You can use MakerSelect or WANHAO i3. WANHAO i3 is more widely known. But what I want to make note here is that you will not be able to successfully upload the new firmware without having this auto reset pin shorted together. And the reason for that is when it attempts to load on the new bootloader, it needs to automatically reboot to have a period of time at which it can actually upload the bootloader. So to a high-level summary, make sure you have this jumper connected to the auto reset pins.
And yeah, you should be able to upload your new bootloader. And then once you have the bootloader uploaded, you can look up another video how to upload firmware to your Arduino or MakerSelect or WANHAO i3. And you should be able to, just like that, it'll be ready to go. You'll have the 3D printer with the 3DTouch, and it will load right up. All you have to do is adjust the, I think it's the Z-axis probe offset, which is the distance between this thing right here, the BLTouch, and the bed. I'm sorry, it's actually the BLTouch and the extruder. It is the distance between the BLTouch and the extruder. So if you get that right, you can take a caliber or something and put it right there and kind of measure the distance. But yeah, once you get that, I don't have the exact distance that I put anymore because my printer is broken. But I will be fixing it soon, and I also will be, SysVanta will be uploading a video about how we took Ramp's 1.4 board and an Arduino Uno, and we ended up taking this printer and turning it into a upgraded printer with removable stepper drivers just in case they break, like this one has. I mean, even with my my soldering, I wasn't able to fix the stepper drivers. So yeah, that is a wrap on this video. Again, I will be attaching this blog and instructions and procedures to the video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was informational and it helped you guys a lot. And I hope I answered the question in the YouTube video by the user, Jonathan Snyder, just to see if we got your questions answered and if those procedures and instructions were enough. Again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you take care. Have a nice one, and Carson signing off.